Welcome to another day in the Matrix, waters above crypto. Wishing everyone a great start to their week, sending you all love and high vibrations. In today's video, we're going to focus on the charts to review what's happened in the market over the past couple days and do some technical analysis on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP to see how this week is setting up since the stock market officially opened up moments ago. There's definitely a fear play in this market with crude oil, precious metals, and the DXY US dollar currency index showing strength while the major stock indices and crypto are hovering around support. So before we get into that, I just wanted to share an update with everyone. My exit strategy blueprint course is available now. So for anyone who has my Mastermind course on my website, you'll see those exit strategy videos were added to the end of the materials in that course last night. And for anyone who doesn't have the time to review a full course, and perhaps you're invested in cryptocurrency and you'd like to know how I am personally planning to exit this market over the long term, you can purchase the exit strategy blueprint separately at watersabove3.com/exit strategy. I'll leave the link below in the description for everyone. So when you click on that link, you'll be able to get to this page and you'll see the steps listed by going to the bottom if you wanted a quick course overview. And you could also see the cryptocurrencies I'll be going over in this are Bitcoin for the overall cycle analysis. Then we have Ethereum, XRP, VeChain, Theta token, Zilliqa, Hedera, HBAR, and Digibyte. And just by going over here, you could click this drop-down menu and you could see all the videos that'll be covered in this. I do have about 3 or 4 more videos to add over the next couple days, and it's going to be comprehensive, basically showing you all of my overall outlook on this market, starting with the mindset, planning, how to de-risk, etc. Then we'd be moving into the altcoin exit strategy breakdowns using Gematria Numerology and Astrology to get all of the price targets. And then I'll be wrapping it up with talking about setting limit orders and essentially the long-term wealth mindset and blueprint for how to reinvest into the market in the future once you've exited. So you could see the price here, and then also anyone who's a Patreon supporter of mine, you'll get 20% off this price by becoming a patron. And if you wanted to, you could become a patron by going to patreon.com/watersabove. And once you sign up for the Mastermind community membership, you'll see my recent post sharing the 20% discount link to the exit strategy blueprint in my Patreon. So, yep, this goes live officially today. It's available now, and I'll be leaving the link to this in the description box below. So if you're new here, we do cryptocurrency technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, numerology, and astrology to understand these markets. Feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell notification to stay updated on when new videos come out. And make sure to give this video a like and share this channel with other conscious beings to help grow this community. And for those of you that want to learn how to do technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, you can join my Mastermind course. The link to my website can be found in the description box of this video and in the pinned comment below for access to the Mastermind course. And with that being said, let's take the red pill. So just a quick reminder, today is the 66th day of this year, and we are considering this date going back to September 1st, which is 6 days before the Hebrew New Year started. And when you take these two dates and measure them, you actually have 6 months and 6 days. Again, that's 66th day of the year, which is today. 6 months and 6 days going back 6 days before the start of Rosh Hashanah, what was the start of Shemitah. And this is another really important thing to consider because we have this being 187 days apart. So again, I brought this up in my last video. That's the murder code. We have a lot of dark energy in this market right now, for sure. I'm sure everyone's noticing that. So one other thing to remember is we're in the 222 year, in the Hebrew year of 5782. And that's the 22s, and we're about to embark on our 2nd anniversary of the World Health Organization declaring the C word a pandemic, which was on March 11th of 2020. So again, 2020 is just the 2-2 when you remove the zeros. So this is all tied to the 2s. And what's really important about March 11th of this year is it will be the 70th day of the year. And that 70 again comes back to Shemitah, 70, And another huge connection is we're currently in the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, Queen Elizabeth. It's her 70th year as the Queen. And this happened on February 6th of this year, just a month ago. So keeping up with the theme of the twos, if we were to go 2 days after this day, 2 days after this day, you could see that is March 13th. And this is very important because this will be 2 years and 2 days since the WHO declared the C word a pandemic. Now that's the 2-2 again. And if we were to measure this amount of time in between, going back to the first day of the start of Rosh Hashanah, I should say, the start of the Hebrew New Year, which was also the start of Shemitah, you can see that is also 6 months and 6 days, giving us 187 days, the murder code. And why this is an important connection is if we look at the date numerology here, it's the 13th day of the month of March, and as I've spoken about on my last couple videos, March is the official new year, the true new year, and we have it being the 13th day of that year, and also the standard date numerology on that day is the 13. And if you consider this coming back to the tarot, the major arcana, the tarot card 13th in the deck will be the Death card, and that Death card again ties back to the Grim Reaper, who is Saturn. All right. So one final note to mention on this particular day is it is the 58 date numerology, the way I like to do it. So that's whenever we have double digits, we add those together as double digits. And you could see 3 plus 13 plus 20 plus 22 gives us that 58. And that 58 might be something to consider because that comes back to XRP 58. All right, so there's a couple other things to say about this, but it's about 5 days before this month's full moon. So when we get into the TA, it's going to be interesting how this all breaks down. But that connection here might be critical as well because we have it being the 72nd day of the year, and 72 again comes back to Bitcoin. In the same cipher, I made that connection to XRP, where again, XRP has that 58, and it is tying back to the date numerology of March 13th. And then again, also we have that 22, and we're in the Hebrew year of 5782 reduced down to 22. Okay, guys, so this is pretty important. This day is close to the full moon, so I can't necessarily say, 100% how it's going to go, but typically around full moons, whether it be 5 days before or 5 days after, we have bearish energy in the market. So it's critical to understand that. But one other thing to consider is right now the market's been very bearish. So whenever we have a bearish energy leading into a full moon, we typically stall out. It gets a little bit boring for a minute, and then we sort of continue into the remainder of the month. Since this month's full moon is on March 18th, and let me show you that really quickly. You could see full moon March 18th. That gives us a pretty long gap of time in between the end of the full moon and the remainder of the month, leading into the next new moon of April 1st, which is 4 days shy of Satoshi Nakamoto's birthday. Again, Satoshi being a artificial, completely made up, but we want to use that exoteric information to get the esoteric meaning by doing our decodes. So April's going to definitely be an interesting month, but with that being said, we need to take the next couple days into consideration, with March 11th again being the 2 years anniversary of the pandemic. We also have it being the 11 date numerology, which again comes back to new beginnings. I brought this up in my last video. It will be the 70th day of this year, and that ties back to Shemitah. Again, Shemitah is in the Hebrew year of 5782, which reduces down to 22, and Shemitah giving us 70, just like the date numerology is, the day of the year is the 70th day of the year. And then we have that big 56 right there when you're doing the date numerology the way I like to do it. And I'm sure a lot of you decoders out there have gotten enough of those 56 connections from us decoders. So, yep. I hope you guys enjoyed that little decode. This whole next week is going to be rather interesting. I mean, Friday being the 11th, it's kind of like the idea of Friday the 13th. Remember, Friday the 13th of March 13th back in 2020 was a huge time frame for Bitcoin. We saw the biggest washout ever in a single day in the entire cryptocurrency market. So that was pretty dramatic. It was on the 12th of March, actually. We had about a 38% loss, I think it was. And then on the next day, the 13th of March of 2020, we saw Bitcoin come down to $3,800. $800. And I think it's really interesting how lately Bitcoin has been trading around $38,000. These 3 eights and the 38 connection is huge. So any of you decoders out there that heard what I just said, I would love to hear some of your thoughts in regards to this decode about the 38s. Again, tomorrow will be March 8th, which is the 3/8 day. So I would love to know your thoughts. Now let's get into the technical analysis section of this video. So we can see right here, I have actually something really important to show you guys. We've been working with these firmament domes, and you could see this firmament dome that was pretty long-term going back last year, essentially charting out all the highs of the bull market. And then since, we've actually had it break down, and it double bottomed here on this structure. But what's interesting about this is it rode the outside of this firmament dome before it actually decided for bullish resolution. Now you can see here, we've had this other firmament dome, which has been playing a perfect resistance. Again, this is something that I've shared with the world probably about a year ago now. And anybody who's a technical analyst, especially on Bitcoin, who's been utilizing these firmament domes, have probably gotten a little bit of a crystal ball into where we're going to get our resistance levels in the market. So you can see right there, we started with the first touch point around July, rode it all the way to the top, multiple top on the all-time highs. You could see rejections at the top of this firmament dome. Then recently on February 17th, and then right here, we bashed through it. But this big green candle was precarious. It was very awkward because remember, the days before that, we had all this Ukraine scare, all this stuff going on with the geopolitical news, and it ended up being a complete opposite of what most people thought. So it's what some people would consider a bear trap. But look at the way this has resolved since. We hit the local top on March 2nd, which is the exact new moon date. Again, let me show you. You can see new moon right here, March 2nd. So that was something that I was calling out a while ago. And then I said to be careful for March 3rd, because March 3rd is the 3/3 date. And it had that 3 months and 3 days connection that I was showing you. Again, it being the 303 days left in the year. I'll just show you that real quick. If I go to March 3rd, you can see it's 3/3, and that left 303 days left in the year. And we tied that back to the first day of Hanukkah in 2021, which was 3 months and 3 days, being 33 days left in the year. Again, that was the transition date into the 333rd day of the year. It's all threes, guys. So that was why I was cautious about that particular day, and we saw how that turned out. So far, this numerological code is just beautiful. It's playing out so nicely. But now here on the technicals, we have this unique form of technical analysis where we've been using these firmament domes now for over a full year, and we're seeing how perfect they play out. Because look at what we're doing now. We're back testing the outside of this firmament. I mean, that's just beautiful. Also, just to let you know, I'm in log scale right now. I like to do these arc firmament domes in log scale. But you could see we're getting that firmament dome retest. Now let's go to this July timeframe. And you could see that's what we did too before an actual bullish resolution. And this went up all the way from July 20th through the whole month of August. And it topped out here in September, right on the day of Rosh Hashanah. During this dump of the start of Shemitah, it was a very legendary call on this channel. We were able to foresee this whole breakout through the month of August and then stopping on the date of Shemitah for a pullback before continuation to new all-time highs. So anyone who was around during that time, it was pretty amazing to watch that all play out. Now what I'm seeing is a very similar structure, and what the question is, you see how we have 3 big wick washouts, or let's just call it 2, and then we had this slow, arduous downtrend to retest these 2 wicks. So we have this wick right here on the 24th, then we have another wick on the 24th of February, and that was another call we made here on this channel, because this was the 24th day of the Gregorian year, and this was the 24th day of the Lunar New Year, the Chinese New Year. Now I'm wondering, is it the 24th of March that we're gonna like slide down into this? I don't know. I mean, it'd be really interesting to see it literally repeat exactly what it did in July. Come down right to this wick level right there and then just completely bear trap fake everyone out. I'm not saying that will happen. It would just be really funny, and it would prove that the algorithm is so pre-planned. But right now, we just have to kind of be calm, and we have to take it for what it is. I mean, it's a very precarious time in the market. We've been seeing what's going on with oil, what's going on with the dollar, and those are 2 things that I mentioned over a year ago, actually, to expect. I told people very far in advance. In the year of 2022, during Shemitah, we could anticipate two things, one of which will be oil prices will go up very, very high, and the second thing will be overall deflation in the DXY, the US dollar currency index. And the reason is because Shemitah is a deflationary time for the world reserve currency. One of the reasons is other currencies are failing. They're collapsing, which is definitely helpful for crypto in a sense, but crypto is still very nascent, still very ritualized, and still very volatile. So if the world really wanted to, de-risk their local currency and jump into Bitcoin or XRP or whatever it is that they're interested in, I mean, we would see these cryptos go for a run, but it's clear that that's not necessarily happening. It seems to be that there's still a fear play here in the crypto market. And that's kind of how this whole time frame back here went between the May eclipse down to this double bottom on the full moons. So it would be interesting if this full moon February to the full moon March, we play it out and then we're kind of extended slightly into the May eclipse. It would be just like this, actually. Just like this. And then who knows? I mean, I'm really interested to see how this all plays out, but we definitely have to take it one day at a time. So anyways, from a technical perspective, back testing this level of trading range, which was the resistance back here in February, this cluster right here in later February, and right above the 236 is very, very key. The 236 fib is a key support level to hold. One other thing to mention, if we want to consider this bullish continuation, it would be ideal to hold daily closes above 37,700 and then no lower than daily closes below 35K. The only instance I could see this being sensible is if this fractal literally repeated 100% the same way, where this was a huge bear trap. You can see right here on July 15th, we actually started confirming closures below the closure lows in this whole stretch of trading days. And then we went for 1 week straight, pretty much perpetually going down in a downtrend, which ended up being a wicked fake out. I mean, this sentiment over here, even from a technical analysis perspective, was very, very hard to swallow. And I remember what we were sharing here on this channel to kind of just be chill about it, because at the end of the day, we knew that there was something esoteric in the coding of what was going on here. It's not just the technicals. You need to have something else to support what's going on here. And that's where the Gematria Numerology and Astrology work come into the picture. Now, so this is really interesting to say in regards to the lower end of the spectrum. We've shared those thoughts. Now on the top side, it's clear as day that 44,400 is the key resistance level. So 444. It's a very powerful number. Remember, Jay-Z made his last album called 444. It's a really interesting number. It has to do with manifestation, but anywho, what's to speak about here, this is a key level that if Bitcoin retests it again, it'll be about the fourth time retesting it. You can see we have a test over here around January before they further to the downside dump, and then we could see right here sometime in the middle of this trading range, second attempt around the Super Bowl, which we've been using the Super Bowl ritual lately to sort of decipher what's going to happen in regards to the connection with the Rams, Ukraine. Again, anything tied to that number 43 or 14 has been very positive, whilst things that are tied to the number 47 or 15 haven't been so positive, or tied to Jupiter. Again, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, go watch my videos from last week and the week before, and you'll be filled in. Now we have this third touch point, and that's a confirmed resistance. I mean, you could call this sort of that short-term double top, and this will be the fourth touch point. But again, it's crypto. We have to be a little bit more open-minded and, allow this to kind of play itself through. But this is telling me that any daily closes above 45,000, let's just call it 44.7, it's probably going to move into the 50Ks pretty quick, because there's no more pressure here from the bears. It's all been exhausted. So this is in the midst of a breakout sooner than later. Now, with that being said, I'm not going to try timing this one necessarily, but the April new moon is probably like where we want to be a little bit more open-minded. And now this doesn't shock me at all, because remember what I told you guys about Satoshi Nakamoto and how Satoshi is turning 47 years old? Again, this is artificial person, but when you study the numbers behind Satoshi from the apex, let's call it the genesis of Bitcoin, you're going to see how Satoshi's birthday plays a huge role. I mean, in the year of 2021, which was the year of Saturn 21, we saw Bitcoin trade into 45,000 right around Satoshi's birthday, which was on April 4th, the 4-5 date. Okay. So what happened at the end of 2021 when Satoshi was 46 years old? Bitcoin closed the year off at $46,000. So are we going to trade into $47,000 on Satoshi's birthday? Let's see. But if this fractal repeats, like I'm showing here, where we ride on the outside of the firmament, just like back here with a bullish breakout, I mean, look at the amount of time this took to just go up to this level right here. It took about 8 trading days to go up 42%. So if it was to come down, let's just say to, maybe 36, I mean, that's still even a little dramatic. In 8 days to go up 40% would get us to 52K. All right, so you see how dramatic that could be? And that's not something people anticipated when this was going on. But once it started happening, people became like, whoa, I didn't know how powerful this code was, So now we're seeing it actually come to fruition. Sorry, I lost this page. But let's wrap up this analysis with a little bit more discussion onto Ethereum and XRP. Just load this up real quick. So again, we know our bottom side is somewhere holding the daily close above the 236, and then for the upside, anything above that 44. We're just in a range right now, and that's obvious. Looks like we're getting a little bit of bullish momentum here since the market has opened. Again, it's been really oversold. We could see the DXY probably approached 100 today, and oil was absolutely mooning. Oil pretty much hit my upside targets for the short term, and I would imagine that it's kind of overheated. Probably needs to slow down. So we could see this is coiling up as well, definitely forming somewhat of a symmetrical triangle, actually, because this has been in place since all the way in mid-January, and now we're about like heading into mid-March. So this is probably creating somewhat of a pattern that we could analyze. And if we were to look at it a little bit more open-mindedly, again, it's crypto, it's very volatile, but we probably have somewhat of a bearish triangle going on here. I'm not a huge pattern trader. I don't think it's that effective, but it's something to consider when we're talking about downsloping resistance for breakouts bullish, or of course, sloped up support levels regards to breaking down or backtesting lower levels. And we could see clear as day that the 236 is still within reach. Again, if Bitcoin was to do that scenario similar to July, I suspect we'll see a similar retest to the 236, just like we got back here. You could see this big W breakout, which led to a massive uptrend for ETH. This was a really remarkable time to see ETH become so strong, literally out of nowhere. So right now we're definitely showing some, strength by holding our daily closure lows, but not necessarily the strongest chart. Anything closing above this the 0.5 fib is probably a continuation sign for us. That'd be any movement over $3,050, and then I suspect we'll start playing out this more macro W pattern. In the meantime, though, we could absolutely retest the $2,400 level. Now, final words on XRP, showing a little bit of strength dating back to that 75-cent level. We've bounced from the 786 bearish retrace many times now. It's about time that this starts to recover. This has held strength actually a lot better than a lot of other altcoins, and that makes a lot of sense because XRP is more suppressed. And we're leading up into that April timeframe, which I remember being extremely bullish for XRP back in 2021. I mean, literally right when we got to the end of March, we just started a perpetual uptrend followed by the start of April, just straight line breakout. So it'd be really interesting to see how this transitions into the month of April. Also, we have that eclipse on April 30th. So it's all the way until the end of the month we have for possible continuation. And it's not to say that every eclipse is 100% bearish, although I think the May 15th eclipse is going to be it's going to be interesting. My commitments to bearish eclipses is absolutely the October and November 8th eclipse. Like it's post Shemitah, and it's really just how the cycles typically end. Once Shemitah is over in September on Rosh Hashanah, which I believe is September 27th, we typically see an eclipse to follow that, and then all of the major historic market crashes align with that event of the eclipse after the Shemitah. So that's until October, which gives us some hope, actually. Not hopium, but some optimism, because that's definitely something to keep in mind. As a technical analyst, we need to utilize the data of the past, right? That's the best we can do. Then we could develop our probabilities of what's to happen. So with that being said, I actually don't mind the structure right now. It would be nice to see XRP finally, though, get back into the 90 cent to the dollar levels. And the problem with this is it could happen overnight. We see it happen all the time where XRP just decides to turn around out of nowhere. And it's really interesting how there's been some SEC narratives going on behind the scenes. I would not be surprised if sometime this month we heard some news. I normally don't say that, but I would not be surprised. It seems like this is getting really close, getting really, really close. So yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. I think that's pretty much all there is to say. As long as Bitcoin's holding that 236 level, I suspect the 786 will hold for XRP. And this fear play can't go on too much longer in the market. The RSI on a lot of the indices is starting to get really dramatic, and I'm seeing bullish divergences play out on the macro timeframes for the S&P, NASDAQ, and the Dow Jones. And also the DXY and oil have been really overheated. So it's time for those to take a little bit of a break. I suspect that liquidity or the attention towards the market will have to go somewhere else, and it's going to go to the most exciting sector, which is cryptocurrency. And that's probably moving into the April new moon. So let's see how the rest of this crazy week plays out with all the decodes that I shared with you guys in the beginning. Again, March 11th being the 2-year anniversary of the pandemic, and then we have the time frame of March 13th, which is 2 days after that. Again, going with our theme of the twos. Released this exit strategy blueprint today. Again, it's at watersabovecrypto.com/exit strategy. Anyone who is a patron of mine at patreon.com/watersabove. If you signed up for the Mastermind community or Trading Wolves, you get a 20% discount on this exit strategy blueprint. Or if you are a member of my Mastermind course already on my website, you'll see these videos were already added. So you just got to go onto my website, log in, go to the Mastermind course that you already purchased in the past, and you'll be able to get access by just scrolling down to the end, and you'll see exit strategy blueprint was added there. So I appreciate every single one of you, appreciate all of your support. Go study this exit strategy blueprint, use your time wisely. Appreciate every single one of you. Much love.